this is starting to really rattle Donald Trump, isn't it? The fact that even his most ardent supporters are saying, come on, cough up the information.
And it's getting out of control. And all the usual tricks that Donald Trump pulls to change the subject aren't working. You know, he's the great expert in deflection, distraction. Look the other way. There's a shiny object. Go after that. Don't look at this. And it's the 3-card trick guy on the bridge, over Westminster Bridge. He's always kind of moving the cards so fast and you're distracted.
You can't keep up almost.
You can't keep up. And Donald Trump is trying to throw all sorts of things out there to get people to stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and they're not doing it. And really, at the core of this, Sheila, is the fundamental belief, the foundational belief of MAGA is that in Washington, there's a swamp. There is a powerful elite who all cover up for each other and that we're going to expose it for what it is. And so you've had the vice president saying, we need to find out what's gone on about Epstein. You've had the head of the FBI saying, we need to find out. You've had Donald Trump Jr. saying, we need to find out. And now you've got Donald Trump saying, oh, there's nothing to see here, guys. Can we move on? Yeah. And he's got more and more cross as people have refused to move on. And so he's called his own supporters idiots and cowards for raising this issue. And this subject won't go away because there are some really fundamental questions about it all. That why is this administration behaving in the way that it is? Unless Donald Trump himself has something to hide.
And even people like Tucker Carlson are coming out saying, no, I'm sorry, if there are images of children being abused which Pam Bondi said there were, we need to see them, or someone needs to verify that and see them. You cannot hide this away.
Yeah. And so Pam Bondi, who is Donald Trump's Attorney General, put out a statement saying, this case is closed. There's nothing to see here. There is no Epstein file. And it contradicts everything that had been said before, including by her, when she went on Fox TV and said, yeah, the file's sitting on my desk. And then she says, there is no Epstein file. And people are thinking, well, what is all this about? We know that Donald Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. They were friends for very many years. They had a falling out over a business deal in Florida, not about anything to do with what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. We don't know what Donald Trump knows or doesn't know. All we know is that he is strenuously trying to shut down this conspiracy theory and say there is nothing to see here. And of course, the rich irony is that Donald Trump knows you cannot kill a conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theories continue to live on. And the more someone says there is nothing to see here, the more suspicious people become.
Also, his history around women doesn't help, does it, in all of this?
Look, we had the Access Hollywood tape that came out before the 2016 election, where he said, you know, I can grab women in a certain place. Dot. And, you know...
We all know what he said, John.
We all know what he said, and there's no need to repeat it. But so Donald Trump has already said that sort of thing. And, you know, Jeffrey Epstein, we know, had a predilection for women. Donald Trump has also talked about how him and Jeffrey Epstein love beautiful women, although Donald Trump then went on to say that though Jeffrey Epstein seemed to prefer slightly younger women, a kind of foretaste of what's to come. And the only person in prison over all of this is none of the men who were involved. It's a woman. It's Ghislaine Maxwell, British, daughter of Robert Maxwell, the former owner of the Daily Mirror. And there's something fascinating going on here as well. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell was charged and sentenced to 20 years in prison for aiding and abetting and kind of, you know, and for perjuring herself. So that trial has taken place. We learned this week that the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, a guy called Todd Blanchett, is on his way to go and see Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm glad you've confirmed that, because I saw stuff about that on social media and it struck me as so striking. I thought, is this real, or is this
it's real?
It's real. So it's real.
And I knew it was real when I heard Donald Trump saying, I don't know anything about it. That was the moment for me. It's definitely happening. He absolutely would have known about it, and it wouldn't have happened without Donald Trump signing it off. And Todd Blanchett, the Deputy Attorney General, just so we kind of get the chronology right, used to be Donald Trump's personal attorney. So he knows Donald Trump's business affairs and his kind of personal affairs quite well. So what's going on? What's going on there? I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, what's our best guess? The thing that first came to my mind was a release deal.
Yeah, of course. There's going to be some kind of sweetheart deal where presumably either she says, I've got nothing to say about anything evermore and I'll never open my mouth.
Please let me out.
Please let me out.
Yes.
Or she makes a statement saying Donald Trump was never involved in any of the untoward activities that took place on Jeffrey Epstein's island. Donald Trump always behaved with absolute probity and all the rest of it. But even if they do that, even if there is some kind of deal, or she helps the state in some way, the federal prosecutors in some way, and becomes a sort of a witness for the state, and they kind of commute her sentence or issue some kind of pardon, then it will be the case that no one has been held to account for Epstein's crimes. Or is it that she's going to reveal the names of some people, maybe because the conspiracy theory in MAGA land, when it started off about Epstein, when Joe Biden was president, and everyone's thinking he never really committed suicide in prison, there was something else going on.
That it was a way to sting the Democrats.
That it was was powerful Democrats who wanted all of this hushed up.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's now looking like it's Donald Trump who wants this. I'm not making any allegations. I'm not casting any aspersions whatsoever.
But you're just seeing what you're seeing.
And you're thinking, why is Donald Trump going to such extraordinary efforts? And it's just magnifying the conspiracy theories more and more and more.
And was the House closed down early to stop?
Yeah. So here you have, as I say, the foundational belief of MAGA, of Trumpism, whatever you want to say, is that there is a rotten deep state, and that the only way to purge the deep state is to open it up and leave everything open to scrutiny. And what happened yesterday, unprecedented, was the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, firm Trump ally, said to Republicans and to the other members of the House, OK, you can start your summer holidays early. Whoopee-dee. Now, that's lovely. You can all go on a summer holiday. The reason is so that there is no vote that takes place on the floor to release the Epstein files, to release the Epstein papers. And, of course, so you are stifling debate. It is the very opposite of what Make America Great Again was about. And that is why you've got this extraordinary dissonance between what the Trump base think is right and what is actually happening.
And am I right in saying this is the first time we've really seen Trump's own supporters give him something of a public kicking?
Yeah. And there are so many paradoxes in this, Sheila. You could argue, if you're Donald Trump, that the first 6 months of his presidency have been this extraordinary success. Yeah. The number of illegal immigrants crossing into the country has dropped to an absolute trickle because of the sort of really, severe measures that are being taken against...
I was speaking to 2 Canadians the other day. 500 Canadians in ICE detention at the moment?
Yeah.
100 Brits?
Yeah, I mean, the number of people in ICE detention is this... And so so ICE is immigration and control, the executive. And they're saying they now have 40,000 people in prison. That's just for immigration offences. That's half the prison total of the UK, just on immigration charges. And it used to be a few hundred people, a couple of thousand people who used to be held. There are now 40,000 being held as illegal immigrants. So he's done with illegal immigration. Economy, he's passed the tax cuts. He's delivering on what he promised on a lot of the areas. He's taking woke out of sport and all the rest of it and doing all these things that he promised. And so Donald Trump thinks he should be on a victory lap right now, except his base are getting more and more restive over the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga on what is going on in federal government. And the White House keeps on saying to reporters like me, this is just a beltway concern. Only people within Washington are talking about this. Wrong. And so you find for the first time Donald Trump is out of kilter with his base. And potentially that's dangerous.
And can I do a bit of a handbrake turn as well and ask you about the Stephen Colbert story and the end of his show on CBS. Yeah. And all the other late night presenters have come out, and lots of other people as well, in support of Stephen Colbert. And even though in his statement on it live on his programme, he kind of downplayed any sense that it was a political move. Everybody thinks it was, don't they?
Well, CBS was always the kind of seen as the most of the three main networks. So I mean, there are the cable networks like Fox or CNN, but the three main kind of broadcast networks in the US are CBS, NBC, and ABC. And CBS was always seen as the most liberal. But the billionaire owner has got involved in kind of various acquisitions of other things and doesn't want to be investigated for those acquisitions. And CBS has been a bit of a problem. And so CBS has already capitulated over the 60 Minutes programme, where it has moved to settle with Trump suing them over an interview that CBS did on 60 Minutes with Kamala Harris. Yeah. And for some reason, CBS settled because they wanted to clear the path for other acquisitions of mergers and whatever else in the company structure. And so the executive editor of 60 Minutes quit, saying, I can't put up with this. The other pain in the backside to Donald Trump was Stephen Colbert's late night show. And Stephen Colbert was, I thought, brilliant. I mean, when I lived in America, that's what I listened to a lot in the evenings. He's funny, he's satirical,
but he puts the boot in cleverly, doesn't he?
But he puts the boot in with some style and aplomb. And so Trump has taken a victory lap saying, I got you sacked. And who is to say that Donald Trump is wrong on that? He probably did have a role in getting him sacked. And, you know, there is a skit that Colbert does to answer that, which ends with the line of telling Donald Trump where he can go, where maybe the odd Anglo-Saxon word is used.
But it says something, doesn't it, about where America is, if the great man, Trump, can just, you know, essentially put an arrow over somebody's head in the media and say, get rid.
Look, it's not just in the media. There are, you know, and maybe this is the irony, that the one bit of the media that looks like it is prepared to stand firm and stick it to Donald Trump
is Fox News.
Is the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, the Wall Street Journal. Right.
Owned by Rupert Murdoch.
Oh, okay.
With their story about Trump and Epstein, and how Trump sent Epstein this birthday card with a drawn picture of a nude woman, and, you know, may your day be full of secrets. And kind of,
I never draw drawings, he said, or something like that.
Yes, even though there has been an auction where Trump's pictures of drawings of the Manhattan skyline have gone for auction. So look, it's I think with every step where the more Donald Trump tries to deflect, the more the conversation comes back. You know, he said that Barack Obama should be prosecuted for treason. Normally that would be days of the main headline. And everyone goes, yeah, I know what you're trying to do there. We're not taking that seriously. Yeah. We're going back to what we want to know about Epstein.
Yeah.
And and you know, for the first time ever, this guy who has had the Midas touch, who has been able to turn base metal into gold, is finding that base metal is turning to dust in his hands. And, you know, I'm not going to make any predictions of whether this is terminal, how serious it is. At the moment, Trump is fighting and losing.